Good afternoon, everybody. It's Stuart here from Dougie Bird's Tackle World on the Gold Coast, and this week I'm filling in for Douglas, the boss. He's on holidays, he's enjoying himself, he's doing a little bit of fishing, a bit of family time. It's well deserved, so we'll kick straight along to the report, guys. Okay, we'll start out wide. So we'll start out wide and come in. Deep drop in the last week, guys. There's been a couple of customers out there. When we say deep drop in, it's kind of 150 metres plus. Still been catching some good reports of flame snapper, barcode, blue eye, things like that. The odd blue eye, not many, more flame snapper and barcode, and some mega sized pearlies. Everyone's been kind of chasing more of that better ground, so it's kind of northeast, and it's east of the northeast 50s. That type of area, and around that 200-ish metres. And you can either bottom fish for them, like use a standard Paternoster rig and use bigger flesh baits, so like mullet or squid, something that holds on a lot nicer, because obviously you're going down so deep, you don't want it to fall off halfway down and then be blind fishing. And as well, with those rigs, guys, make sure you put a bit of glow on there, so at that depth, that glow really does work. Apart from that, a lot of customers are getting into that deep water jigging aspect as well. So fishing, like say 250 to 500 gram jigs in that depth of water has been accounting for a lot of quality size fish as well. So a bit more hands-on approach, a little bit harder work up a sweat doing it, but very rewarding. So that's the deeper stuff. There has been, I've heard of a striped marlin and a blue caught this week as well, trolling, and some big dollies out on the shelf, like around the rib grounds and things like that. But all in all, the weather's been a bit ordinary, so there hasn't been a lot of opportunities for a lot of the people to get out there and give it a crack. And of course, midweek it is harder. A lot of people have to work, so it's one of those things that the retired guys or the guys that do it for work always catch those better fish, that a bit less competition during the week, but doesn't matter. Over the weekend, there's still a lot of good fish to be caught. Coming inside now, like in a bit closer. So around the 50s, been some really good kingy and amberjack caught. A lot of guys have been live baiting for them and jigging as well. Some good sized fish get caught jigging. And one of the standout jigs lately have been the Doug design. So Dougie actually designed these many moons ago over in Japan. And it's the Hiro jig. So they're quite flat. They still do sink quite well. You just kind of got to feather your line a little bit to get them sinking quite vertically. And they work really well, guys. They've got a good flutter, and a lot of the guys that buy one, they come in the very next day and they say, "Oh mate, I smashed my mate, like I caught 3 to his 1," and they come back and buy more jigs. So they do work. It's a good indication on what does work. In a little bit closer, like that 50 fathom fad, that's had some good size dollies on it as well this week. We actually had a customer ring up yesterday, gave us a bit of a midweek report, and he found the Holy Grail. He found the floating tree all out there by himself, and as soon as he got close, triple hook up on dollies, really good size ones, and he got a dolly about 25 kilos, like a good size dolly, and bagged out on dollies. Then he went closer to the fad. He didn't even get closer to the tree, didn't even get to the tree, and got some bonito around the tree, and then, like, unbelievably, he reckons that there was some Spanish around the tree as well. So he smashed the Spanish, and he was all out there by himself, and I've seen the photos, it did happen. So it's a really good report. It's a good sign of what's to come. Good water is pushing closer in now, and it'll just bring that warm water, the nutrients and the bait, and everything is just going to follow it. So it's going to shape up really nicely. Into the 36s, so the 36 fads have been fishing really good as well. Fad 14, which is like the 36s off of the pin. Heard some good sized dollies off of that as well. Bit of a hike. And then the 3 fads dead east and the fad off the down around Southport type area. That's been fishing as well, quite well. Size of the dollies, you do get the odd bigger one as well, but they are still quite medium size at the moment. Around that 70 type centimetre size. So good fun size, good for a couple for a feed, but I wouldn't go there and absolutely bag out on them. keep enough for a feed type of thing, and then let them go and let them grow, because I do grow 7 centimeters a week, so it's very quick. And again, trolling lures around that area, looking for bait, cubing, so like a handful of half pillies with a half pilly with a hook in it as well, and that always tricks them when they're a little bit more finicky. Casting stick baits has been really good, and plastics as well. But yeah, trolling the lures has been the biggest catcher lately. So things like the little Pakula Uzis, we just got a massive order of them in the shop. So a lot of colours to choose from, and the fat boys have been going really good, and that Lumo colour is dynamite. Just rigged with a single hook, so you don't have to worry about 2 hooks getting stuck in you and when the dolly's on the deck and it's going crazy, because they do. Okay, in a little bit closer again, so we've done 36s, we're around that 24 fathom type area now. Still had some really good snapper fishing around the 24s. Plenty of tuskies as well, the odd better pearly. I went out there on Wednesday. I was heading towards the fads. I didn't quite get there just because it's a little bit lumpy off the Southport. There's a glass out up the pin. I should have went north, but I went south. So I just stumbled across a bit of reef. I haven't fished it before, and it was chocked full of bait with fish all over it. And first drop, absolutely got smashed. I'm calling it for a really good snapper. Ran me straight into the reef. And after that, spooked the school, and that was it. I got a couple of little pan-sized ones, but that's about it. Just on plastics. Just a smaller type of plastic, so white in colour. The pinks and stuff like that does work quite well as well. But that's actually the plastic that I was using. So a bit of like a paddle tail type setup. And just on depends on current, so anywhere from a 3/8 of an ounce head to a 3/4 of an ounce. You do want to get to the bottom, but you want to take as much time as you can to get down there. And those bigger fish, they're going to eat it on the drop. So they're up patrolling above the reef, looking for bait and looking for that rogue fish that's escaped the reef and left the reef for shelter when they shouldn't have. And that's when you catch those bigger size fish. The 18s has been fishing all right, more drag and tailor and stuff like that on the 18s, more on bait, just Paternoster rigs and things like that, just with pillies and squid. And apart from that, mackerel. The mackerel have started. So I've heard some really good reports of mackerel, both spotties and Spanish, down off Palmy, so Palm Beach Reef. There hasn't been anything around Mermaid as I've heard yet. But the fishing around Palmy's been quite good. So the kayakers have been dominating the catches, trolling live baits, things like that. Just slow trolling them, just in gear if you're in a boat, or just a steady paddle if you're a kayaker. But liveys have been catching some good size Spanish down there for early season, and some good spotties as well. Apart from that, I have heard of a couple of customers did pop in, and they said that they went down there last. It was early in the week, I can't remember what day, but anyway, and they just spun. So spinning metal lures, stuff like that's a little 35 grammer, just in a chrome one. And that's a 55 grammer, but that's a bit of a hybrid, it's a bit of a resiny type metal lure. Smashing the spotties on that. So spotties have always responded a little bit better to those fast spinning in lures or float line in half pillies at anchor. And I did hear a little bit of a rumour this morning that there was a school of spotties on the 18s, just chopping up everywhere. So unfortunately we were in the shop and not out there catching them, but that's alright. And then, so mackerel, that type of thing, first light has had the better catches. Definitely a lot more fish, more active fish. And then on the tide change as well, we'll be lucky to have the tide change around about that 7:30 tomorrow, 8 o'clock. That'll be a low tide change, and they normally bite not too bad on tide change as well. So you'll get 2 bite windows in. Tomorrow, weather-wise, you might be able to do a bit of the close stuff. I probably wouldn't advise going too far out. At this stage, the weather report does say that there's going to be a bit of a southerly push come in around about 10 o'clock. So you'd want to be, obviously drive to the conditions. Don't go too far knowing that it's going to blow up. Anyway, but inside has still had plenty of good fish in. So after my absolute disaster snapper fishing, I came back into the seaway and I just plastic fished around the north wall, and there was plenty of fish. So heaps of dewies. I actually used the same plastic. So it's actually a little fuse bait, and it's just a mullet style. I just had that rigged on a 1/2 ounce head. I just fished light line, just so there's plenty of bottom contact. You don't have that big belly in your line. And plenty of dew, trevally, and then I fished a wash as well. And there was heaps of dart, tailor, and trevally, just because of all that massive tide on the incoming. It flushes a lot of bait in, and there's a lot of fish obviously taking advantage of that. So if you want to chase a dart around the north wall, I had a couple of people say, how do you do it? What lures do you use? The Jackson Dart Magic, mate, this is such a good lure. It's bent. It's a very odd thing, but I don't know if you can see that there, but it's a really good lure. The dart absolutely smack them. And the other one, I've tried hundreds of plastics, and the best one is definitely the Fuse prawn head. So it's like a little prawn style lure. Just rigged that on a little 1/8 head of it, 1/8 of an ounce head with a size 1 hook or something like that. And mate, when they're on, it's the darter cast, and that's everyone's dream. They're really hard fighting, and they're quite good eating as well. Just remember to bleed them. Couple of jacks around the seaway as well, a bit of bycatch for the guys chasing the dewies. As I said, dewies on plastics have been good as well. Live is if you can get them. Live pike for the guys that can't zip offshore, catch them around the back of wave break on small little diving lures. Or if you can zip offshore, yakkers and slimies are definitely the standout, but pike are still very good, and little live herring as well. Then coming back around the seaway, so around the wall, north wall on the south wall, both been fishing really good for flatties. I kind of keep a lot tight to my chest on the flatty front, but it's been really good. So that run-in tide pushed a lot of clean water, a lot of bait, and just cast little plastics into the little sand holes around the rocks. So kind of where the effluent pipes come out on the north wall near that green marker, around to about the hole in the wall, the gap. Just throwing plastics up into those sandy holes, the little blue holes in the rocks. Stuff around like those little bait junkies, I've been catching a few on that. They're the little 3.2 inch minnow style. And the old famous gulp shrimp in the 4-inch size in that colour. Absolutely dynamite. So I think I fished it on Wednesday just after the dewy sesh, and I caught about 6 in about 20 minutes, so they were on up to about 60 centimetres. Little grosses have been good as well, little paddle tail as well. Just on about 1/4 ounce, and you just want to throw it up, fish the pauses, and just hop them up, and they'll be all over it. Coming in a bit further, so like back of wave break's been fishing really good on that run-in tide for whiting, plenty of white in there, spinning yabbies. So when I say spinning yabbies, it's just tied on a long shank hook, no sinker, or very small sinker. Put a yabby on, you throw it out, slowly wind it, and you'll see the whiting come from ages to get it, or you just feel a bit of weight and that's a whiting on. But that around there's been really good. Around, I think it's called Curlew Island, that little island straight off of the Grand, bit south of wave break. Around the back of there's been really good for the whiting as well, and further north around Crab Island. So all of that nice, cleaner water on that run-in tide. Plenty of whiting to be had. For the bait guys that want to fish of a night, a bit less traffic, the Nerang River's been fishing really good for the whiting as well, up around the council chambers. Just around that red marker up there, guys, and anchor on the drop off. You can use worms or yabbies, things like that. Bloodworms, sandworms. We've got cured beach worms here in store. They do work quite well as well. Really good, just have them in the freezer. They don't smell or anything, so the missus won't be upset. And yeah, you can just take them fishing and it's very convenient. So then the Nerang River's been fishing not too bad as well, like plenty of trevally and stuff like that to be had. Generally early morning, late afternoon, into the night, casting bigger surface type walking lures. So casting the big surface lures just around structure, around the bridges, around any eddies, things like that. You'll generally be able to get some quite large, bigger trevally and things like that. Bit of good fun, and plenty of jacks around as well. So the Coomera and the Nerang has had a lot of jacks in it this year. After all that rain, I'd suggest fishing the little bit deeper pockets in the river. So around those rock bars and things like that. Trolling hard bodies or casting them, like the Rapala deep diving slash baits, they're really popular. And then the Samaki Redix. I've caught a couple of the jacks on the Redix already this year in that pinky type colour. The chrome one works really good as well in that clearer water. And apart from that, slow rolling plastics around the pontoons and things like that's very effective as well. Middle Broadwater hasn't been fishing that great, only because the amount of fresh. So I did hear a couple of reports of a few school dew and trevs and stuff like that around Sovereign, just on the outside, just around those pontoons there. Just casting little small plastics. The cranker crabs have been going really good because there's lots of crabs and things being flushed out of the little tributary creeks, and even like the Eco Gear ZXs, just in that little bit deeper water. A lot of that rain's flushed a lot of bait out, so you want to think what would get flushed out first of those prawns and crabs, so use the prawn and crab style lures in around that middle Broadwater section. Crabbing's been really good as well. Heaps of muddies to be had around the mouth of the Coomera, mouth of the Pimpama, up around Koran area. Tipplers, mouth of Jacobswell Channel, been pumping lots of fresh out and lots of big muddies to be had in there. Sandies, a little bit quieter due to the amount of fresh. So if you were chasing a feed of Sandies, I'd be more around the Seaway or the Pin Bar area. Muddies in that middle Broadwater, would be smashing. And mullet as bait, guys, or any fish frames that you have. So something nice and oily, so it takes that scent a lot further. Gives you a lot better chance of catching a feed of crabs. Then up to the pin. So the pin's been fishing good. Still heaps of flatties up the pin, out the front of like Duck Creek, along Millionaires Row, those deeper pockets of water around that new moon. There was a bit of a spawn in aggregation again. A little bit late, but they're still doing it. And they've been feeding really hard, so really good catches there. Gold Bank and like Tank Bank, so the end of Caruso on the high tide. A lot of bigger fish to be had this time of year. Fish go up there, they always feed on bigger baits this time of year, bigger whiting and things like that. So I'm always throwing the bigger hard bodies. So back again, my favourite, the Athlete. It's been smacking them lately. And any bigger, shallow running hard body, you can always get a better size flatty over those flats, particularly in these seasons around those really big flood tides. It's been fishing really well. Plenty of Taylor and stuff like that around the Pin Bar on that incoming push of clean water as well. And also some good dewies. So jigging those deeper pockets in the bar, big jig heads, big plastics, so 7-inch gulps and things like that, right on the bottom, and very minimal movement. And there's been some really good dewies get caught, and some big flatties along with it, so it's another good option. Cracking right along, guys, for all the guys that chase a bit of freshwater stuff. All the dams and stuff like that have been absolutely smashed with runoff. They're really full. There's been some really good bass getting caught as well. In the dams, the bass feed really hard when you get that big sudden push of fresh, clean water. And generally they're always feeding above that new, freshly covered vegetation. So I would be using a lot of surface lures, because obviously once that vegetation gets covered, all the bugs and stuff do float, and there's always a good surface bite afterwards. Just a little cicada type patterns. That's a little atomic, that one. Or the little TaylorMades. I like the TaylorMades. They're Aussie made, the timber. They sound different when they hit the water, and that's a big thing with bass surface. You want a nice, subtle, natural land, not a big plonk. And then also slow rolling plastics along the top of that freshly covered vegetation. Any little rock bars, little boom baits, they're quite a good little one for that. Any little paddle tail, and just put them on like a jig spin, which is that little contraption with a little willow blade on the top, or a Colorado blade, and or the little weedless rigged ones with a little tail spinner. They work quite well as well. Okay, what is new? What's new in the shop? This is my little section where I like to tell everyone what's new in the shop. For all the flatty guys, I know it's a little bit late, it's after the classic, but there's still a lot of flatties getting caught. We've just received a massive order of the new Gulp Nemesis prawn in the paddle and the curl tail, and these things are going to absolutely smash them. So that's in there. Two of my favourite colours, molten and pearl, or white, whatever they call it, pearl white. They're going to be really good. They do them from a 2-inch, I believe, to a 5-inch. Again, we just got a massive order of barra type stuff. So if you keep an eye on the social media stuff, Monduran and Awonga has been fishing really good this year. Like so good, best in years. So we've just got a massive order of the Molex 140s. All the colours, mate, we've got them all. And as well, we've just got some power bait ripple shads. These are the rigged ones. If you're after a cheap swim bait, these are the ones. They come pretty standard. Just upgrade the bottom treble if you would like. And we've got the full range of that colour as well. We've also got the Xeric live mullets and things like that for anyone planning a barra trip. And got our finger on the pulse. We've always got the recent goss from up that way. And if you guys want the other new lure this week that we've got is a little Berkeley, like I called them a bender. They're just like a bent minnow style of lure. And I tell you what, anyone that wants to fish a lure like that knows the prices, these are really affordable. They're under 20 bucks, and we've got the full range of colours as well in those ones, and they're 100 mils, so good for all your trevally flatties and things like that. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of what to do over the weekend. As I said, keep an eye on the weather. Saturday morning is definitely the better weather day, and if you can, get out there, get amongst it, and yeah, look forward to seeing all the photos of you guys smashing them. Fish hard, and that's Stewie signing out with the fishing report for this week. Thanks, guys.